Chicken scaloppini. Kathy and I had this on Ruby Princess's cruise we had on Ruby Princess not too long ago, and I'm going to try to recreate it today in our kitchen here. And just for reference, the chicken scaloppini at Sabatini's look like this, and that's what we're going to try to do. Let's talk about what we're going to have for ingredients. It's only for the two of us, so we're going to use one chicken breast that we'll split and pound out. It's going to be with lemons and rosemary, onion, some butter for the sauce, and some chicken stock for the sauce. Also going to use some flour to lightly bread the chicken when we're ready. Our sides are going to be mashed potatoes and some carrots, and I'm going to use some of the onions, so carrots and onions. And that's going to be what we're going to go after. So lemon chicken scaloppini. Let's start. So first thing we're going to do is deal with this chicken. I need to cut this that away and pound it down so we have two pieces that are about the same width. Chicken, I'm going to use gloves. It's a little easier to keep my hands from cross-contaminating things. So we'll glove up, and while we glove up, now that you've seen our ingredients, I'm going to get them out of the way because I don't want to cross-contaminate anything and I don't want to knock them anywhere. Only the things we're going to need for this here chicken right now. We're going to need the onion, and that's about it. We'll save the onion and the garlic and the butter we can put over there. All right, and the chicken side. All right, so let's deal with our chicken. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and cut this way. You have to kind of get to know your chicken here. You have a part that's less wide and a part that's wider. I'm gonna go ahead and kind of do this way because I'm going to try to get this so this is not as wide, and I'm cutting it at an angle. So I'm going through the chicken but at an angle. So I'm going to have a piece like this, which is not quite as thick, and a pretty thick piece. Okay, so thick piece is still pretty thick. Well, let's see what we can do. So let's go ahead and put our knife in the sink. And we're going to go ahead and pound this out. What I'm going to do is place the chicken in this Ziploc bag, kind of flat, like that. And leave it open. I'm just using this to isolate the chicken. I'm going to take my gloves off now because I got chicken guts on there. And we'll use my chicken pounder. Now, you could use a mallet, probably should use a mallet, but this is what I got. So we're going to just kind of go down into the outside, striking it at kind of a side blow. And that sort of spreads it out. Keeping it in the bag if I can. And go different directions. And what I'm looking for is just to pound this down so it's about the same thickness as our other piece, which I'm just going to kind of, there's a little bit of a high spot that we'll take care of. All right. Okay, so that's two pieces of chicken that are roughly the same thickness and the same size. That we're done with our mallet here. And we'll go to the next step. So the next step is going to involve lightly breading this chicken. Let me just move this over. We'll get our board out of the way. And I'll use my favorite multitasker in the kitchen, which is a paper plate. This is flour that has been seasoned with salt and pepper. You should always season your flour. That we're going to use to prepare our chicken. Okay, we'll spread that out a little bit. I'm going to actually get one glove now, because I'm still going to have to deal with the chicken, so I'm going to just use one glove. And 1/4 sheet pan, just so I have a place to land the chicken. So let's go ahead and deal with our first one. The flour is seasoned, the chicken is not. We're going to deal with that in a little bit. So I'm just placing that in there. I'm not trying to build up a little flour. In fact, I really want to have as little flour on here as I possibly can. So I'll shake that off. Try to get all the spots, oops, wash my hands, and go from there. So that one's good. This piece is a little bigger, but you know, that's life. Okay, so we have 2 nice pieces of chicken that have been lightly dredged in our flour, and we're done with our flour. Okay, rid of our gloves. You go through a lot of gloves when you do this. I'm gonna save some of this flour. I might need it later. I like to season the flour in a little container, because then I can just use as much as I need and might need it later. All right, so dealing with the chicken, the first thing we need to do is get this chicken browned. It actually cooked pretty much all the way through. This is a dish that you're going to cook the chicken, then you're going to prepare like a sauce that goes with it, as well as the sides, and then you're going to reintroduce the chicken back into the sauce, and that will heat it up again. So I'm not going to be too concerned about this getting cold while we do our sides and we do our other things. So let's start with the chicken. All right. So before we do the chicken, let's prep our vegetables. I want to get the potatoes started, because things will move pretty quickly. So I spared you the time of watching me peel potatoes. I know it's really interesting, but so I'm just going to cut these potatoes into just like, I don't know, 6 pieces depending on the size. These are going to get boiled. These are going to be mashed potatoes, so I'm not super particular. You just want the size of the chunks to be roughly the same, so they cook at the same time, same amount of time. All right. All right. Okay, we're gonna get these going right now. I got my pot of water over here that we'll put them in. Okay, and we'll go ahead and turn that on. They can just sit there and do their thing for a while. All right, next let's do the onion. Now the onion I'm going to use in 2 ways. We're going to use some of it in the sauce, and we're going to use some of it that roasted along with our carrots we have here. So I'm going to divide that in half, and we'll cut this a little bit differently too. All right, so this part we'll go ahead and chop. See how the skin's going to come off for me today. All right, reasonably well. All right, there we go. Okay, we'll go ahead and just chop this into medium chop or so. Try to keep your pieces relatively even. When you do this, we'll make a couple of slices in, kind of down at an angle, so you're not aiming right at your fingers. Okay, and we'll chop this up. Okay, and there's the onion that we're going to use for the sauce. Okay, now this next part of the onion I'm going to roast. So I want to cut this slightly differently. I'm going to make this easier to peel. There we go. So this one I'm going to cut both ends off. And we'll just do this in bigger shards. So I'm just going to kind of follow along the radius of the onion, and that's good right there. And we'll use those. Carrots, they're nice carrots. You know what? I'm going to leave them just like that, and we'll roast them whole. Garlic, we'll go ahead and give it a little whack. There we go. To get it out of its skin. I'm going to cut the back part of that off. That can be bitter. I'm going to give this some thin slices. All right, then turn those around and give them a chop. It doesn't need to be super finely minced. It's going to cook for a while and it'll break down. And you know, a little piece of garlic is not the worst thing. All right, let me run through one more time with this. All right, fine with that. Okay, so we have our veg ready to go. Onions, garlic. Ooh, that's strong garlic. I can smell it. And onions 2 ways, and carrots in that. So side, in the sauce. Let's get to our chicken, which is ready to go now. Okay, so we're now at the stove here. I'm gonna change burners. Just get that out of the way a little bit. Okay. I have a 10-inch cast iron that we're going to go ahead and heat up. This is regular olive oil, not super good olive oil, because we're going to heat it up. It doesn't really pay to use good olive oil in there. You're just going to cook out all of the nuances of it. I have a cheek tray here that I'm going to put some paper towels in. Come on. There we go. And we're going to take a rack inverted, and that's going to be where our chicken is going to land when it's done. Okay. First piece of chicken is going to go in. Now, remember, they're not seasoned yet, really. The only seasoning is what's in the flour. We're going to deal with that right now. So I'm going to season this side of the chicken with salt and pepper. Our oil is now getting up to temperature. We can, pardon my head, sorry. Okay, I grab my little measuring device. We can see what temperature we're at. Okay, it's climbing up through the 200s. I want to get it up to 350-ish, just so we can get our chicken to brown really nicely, as well as cook all the way through. This is its only cooking other than when it goes back into the sauce, which it'll cook some more. And that'll be it. All right, so we're getting there. Let's go ahead and put our first piece in. You always want to drop this away from you so it doesn't splatter on you. Just nice and gently in there. Second piece. Gently in there. So it's in just a little layer of olive oil. Whoops, crunch. And we're going to go ahead and let this cook. This will take not that long, probably 3 minutes on each side. Okay, well that chicken is working. I'm going to go ahead and throw our onions, break them up a little bit. And our 2 carrots. On our quarter sheet pan here that I have. Use a little olive oil in there. A little salt. Pepper. And I'm going to put it in, roast it for, I don't know, 45 minutes, however long it takes. Okay, that's in there at 425, and it should actually, till the carrots are done, which will be about 20 minutes, I would bet. All right, our chicken we're going to go ahead and turn. Nice and brown, as you can see. That one, I'm going to give that one a little bit more time. As you can see, my nice immaculate stovetop is not so clean anymore. This is going to splatter. You can put something over the top of it, but I just do not. All right, flip view. Let the other side go. This will take, again, another 3-4 minutes. Then we'll check our use our instant read thermometer, and we'll check the temperature to see how close we are to being the temperature we want it to be. We're going to reuse this pan, complete with the oil and the font that's in there on the bottom, to build our sauce in. It's got a lot of chicken flavor right now and a lot of goodness that we can use, and we don't want to waste, to make our sauce. Just going to check this thickest part. Okay. So this one's gone. This one needs to get in a better spot. Okay. Got a ways to go because I'm looking to get them to about again, they're going to cook some more in the sauce, so I'm not really worried about getting all the way to 160. If I can get them to 155, they'll finish in the sauce. I'm also going to turn the oven on just at like 200 to keep them warm. Well, that's cooking. I'm going to go ahead and deal with these lemons. We're going to use the juice of the lemon in here, so let's get that. I'm going to use 2, I like it lemony, so I'm going to use 2 lemons. You could probably get away with 1. Okay, juice of 2 lemons. And a pip, no on that. All right, so this is going to go in our sauce when we get to the end, along with our rosemary, some butter, yet to be determined amount of butter, and we'll deglaze with the chicken stock. Let's see how our chicken's doing. Okay, so we're going to check our chicken now. Getting browner, nice brown. Flip it over here again. See how we're doing? Okay. I'm going to call this one done. Another minute. Gonna pull that off the heat. I'm gonna leave this on low. These we're gonna just stick in the oven for a little bit. Let them keep warm, and the oven's about 200. It'll carry over cook a little bit more. All right, so let's deal with this. We have enough oil in there that's good. I'm gonna put some butter in there. This is going to immediately get really excited. This is about tablespoon and a half of butter. I'm gonna put in our rosemary. That was about a tablespoon of rosemary. Not our garlic, not yet. You'll burn. Almost made a mistake. Onions. All right. Ooh, it smells like rosemary. We cook our onions and rosemary. I love the rosemary in big chunks because it's easier to avoid if you don't want to eat a big pine cone. So you could chop that all up to small pieces, but I did. So there you go. We're building a sauce, really, for the chicken to go into. Turn the heat up a little bit. While I'm stirring these, I'm also kind of scraping a little bit here. We'll do that a little bit more when we put in our chicken stock to deglaze. We'll turn the heat up a little bit more. Looking really to make the onions soft. Kind of halfway between a sweat and a saute. I don't mind if they brown a little bit, but I'm not really, that's hot. I'm not looking for that too much. Okay, I'm gonna throw the garlic on board. Oops. Where's my thingy? Here you are. I don't want you. Only gonna let that go for about a minute. I'm just trying to get the garlic fragrant, which it is. I'm gonna deglaze now. I'm gonna go ahead and let the heat come up with a little bit. I'm not gonna use a whole lot. This is like way more than I'm going to use. I just want to deglaze the pan with something that's relatively neutral. And what this is gonna do is it's gonna loosen up all that font that's on the bottom, all the yummy flavors of chicken. You see it turns brown a little bit because it's getting that all in there. All right. Go ahead and turn that down. I'm going to put in our, got another little bit. That's okay. Our lemon juice in there. So that was probably a quarter cup of lemon juice. So this will be lemony. And I'm going to reduce a smidge. Now, this will thicken up a little bit because there's still some of that starch from the flour that was on the chicken. That's going to help to thicken this up. It's a nice color. All right. Let that go and reduce it a little bit. If you don't like butter, look away. I'm going to mount the sauce by adding some butter in there. This will help just make it a little more decadent, a little more creamy. We're going to go fetch our chicken. I'm going to put that back in. our sauce. Sorry about that, camera got a little overheated, so I had to give it a little break. So our potatoes are ready to go, so we're gonna get those out. Now I did put the chicken along with the sauce in the oven just to keep warm while we deal with this. Full disclosure, my timing was a little off. I should have started these a little sooner, but that's okay. So potatoes in. They're fork tender. All right, there you go. Okay, so as you can see, they are warm. Let's go ahead and season our potatoes. Now, I'm going to put some salt in there. If you're afraid of salt, I'm sorry. And some pepper. All right, now what are we going to do? How are we going to make these mashed? I have some of that chicken stock I used. We're going to put a little bit of that in there. Some milk, because mashed potatoes always want to have milk. Start there, and then I have my secret weapon, which is some sour cream, which we'll probably add too. Using my masher mash. I like using this thing with the holes in it just to get it started. And then once it's kind of broken down, I'll move to something else. Okay. Okay, so they're getting all mashed, but let's have a taste of these. Now I know they're not going to be completely where I want them to be right now, but this is just like, what is the baseline of these? Okay, so salt and pepper is good. They could be a little bit more creamy, so we're going to bust out the secret weapon. And I'm going to put in about a quarter cup, measured very carefully, as you can see. Mashed potatoes are just kind of a feel thing. I'm going to use the fork just to run this through for a second, because that actually helps to break up the potatoes without creating a whole lot of gluten. These are getting nice and creamy. Okay. And yes, I used the same fork that I took a bite off of, sorry. I'm the only one, well, Kathy and I are the only ones eating the potato, and it'll be okay. I'll wash it now, so you're happy. And we'll try it again. So this is with sour cream. This is the only addition that we've added since our baseline. Really nice and creamy now. One more addition, I think, and then we'll be done. So, it's butter time. How about a tablespoon of butter in there, just to make it so it's nice. We'll wash this again. Let's see, you know what, I'm going to use a regulation spoon. Oops. Okay, it's really hot. All right, those are ready. Let's see how our carrots and onions are doing. I can smell them. Okay, so I've got a couple of crispy onions. Let's see our carrots. Oh yeah, they're nice and caramelized and they're nice and soft. They're there. Okay, so we're ready to plate. So let me get this area ready to go and we'll set up. Okay, so here's our finished plate. Let's, let me try some out here. So we'll try our chicken. Cooked nicely, put a little sauce on there. Very lemony. Cooked well, nice taste. Carrot. Tastes like a carrot, that's good. All right. And there were mashed potatoes. Really nice. I think this is pretty close to what we had at the best at on the Ruby Princess. I think this is a really good reproduction of that. Yeah, if you want to see more recipes like this, most of them inspired by cruise ships, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I'm Pat, and it's Calm Sea Cruise, and we'll see you in our next adventure. Bye-bye.